Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. You know, I heard that a couple of rappers have been beefing with each other lately. Well, when are rappers not beefing with each other? But most recently, the guys making the headlines are Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I guess they're having a war of words over something. But there's a lot of other people who've decided to weigh in on it, not because they have anything intelligent to say, but because they're trying to see if they can milk it for clicks. And this brings us to the feminists of all people who are trying to make this into a black men are all abusing black women thing. Now, one of these bad actors in particular wrote some sort of article for Yahoo, and this woman apparently is from Canada, just like Drake is, which to me makes this some person I never heard of trying to clout chase. She says that Drake disrespected Megan, I can only assume she's meaning Megan the Stallion, and that this alienated black women from Drake, and this was the beginning of his fall from whatever. Now, again, I don't know much about Drake or his sales figures, but considering the fact that this woman's sitting here talking about him, getting all ventilated about it and trying to milk Drake for clicks, apparently Drake can't be doing too bad. She says that black women are the ultimate tastemakers, and that's fine for her to be saying that, but she's doing this as a way to basically push her own personal agenda, which has nothing to do with black women's interests. This woman sounds, and no doubt smells, like one of the Shea Butter Twitter crowd. She herself admits that she's, quote, chronically online, and X is where she, quote, tries to promote herself as an artist. Well, it's not hard to see that this is her latest attempt to promote herself, but to try to defend Megan the Stallion, that takes nerve. Not brains, but certainly nerve. Pro tip to these online feminists, if you're going to try to make somebody out to be a misogynist, then you need to find a better victim than the woman who made WAP. Megan the Stallion has made a career, such as it is, out of tasteless sexual vulgarity and promoting a gutter mentality. I tried listening to her music once, and I couldn't even make it past the first few verses. All she talked about was her private parts and how much she loves sex. She went out of her way to be needlessly as vulgar as possible. One of the great lies that white supremacy invented about black people is the myth of the hypersexual black woman, the black woman who just can't keep her drawers on. This lie, like so much of anti-black racism, had its genesis on the plantations. White slave owners who were degenerates in every sense of the term and liars in the extreme wanted to use their position to rape black women, but they also wanted to claim to be good white Christians too. So the excuse was they would blame black women for their own rape-happy behavior. They called black women Jezebels and all the rest of it, said the black woman seduced them. I didn't want to have sex with that negress, but she seduced me. She made me do it. I tried to leave, but she wouldn't let me. The black woman was blamed for that kind of behavior, but they used that lie to push the idea that black women can't be raped. Why, they're just begging for it. And how many rapes have these white supremacists committed against black women, and there's nothing done about it, all under the lie that, well, black women, they just can't help themselves. Garbage like the crap Megan the Stallion pushes plays on that racist narrative. But of course the Shea Butter crowd don't care about that. This woman in this hit piece doesn't even mention that. People who continue traditions created by our enemies don't deserve our respect, much less our defense, and they certainly don't deserve our money. I can only imagine what kind of individual actually listens to Megan's garbage, this wannabe rapper from Toronto, it seems. Gutter music for gutter people, I suppose. Well, allow me to put your mind at ease, D-Joe, what's your name? Megan doesn't need Drake's help to disrespect herself. She's been doing a great job of that on her own. Any pictures about her look like they belong in Hustler magazine, and her music, if it can be called that, sounds like it belongs in a Skid Row brothel. But this woman was attacking Drake and even low-key threw shade at Kendrick Lamar, all of this so she can get some attention on herself. But of course she wasn't alone. You also had the Root chime in on this too, and they had the exact same slant. Naturally, they didn't add anything intelligent to the conversation. Not that this is a smart conversation to begin with. The Rot also decided that this media catnip was also about women. I said women. The article said that too. Not black women. It says just women. And just to show that that wasn't some one-time oversight, I read the so-called article that the Rot posted, and the phrase black women doesn't come up at all, except for one Twitter tweet that they reposted. But even they knew people would see their take as being a stretch. This article starts off with, the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake has finally died down, maybe, but there is still a lot to unpack. Actually, there's not much to unpack at all. This is just her clumsy attempt to try to justify what's nothing more than shameless clickbaiting. Okay, if the feud has died down, and even she admits that, then why try to dredge it back up again? How does two black men bickering in public help the black community? And how does trying to prolong this fiasco as a news story help the black community at all? Certainly doesn't help black women. Of course, this isn't about helping black people. It's about some irrelevant feminists trying to get some clicks by talking about two black men who are relevant, piggybacking on whatever's trending and trying to make it all about themselves. Two black men are arguing and defaming each other. That makes the black community look bad. But she claims, well, forget about the black community. Forget about these two black men. It's black women. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean just women who are the victims. This is a reoccurring habit from black feminists. They are intersectionalists first and foremost. Their identity as white-adjacent activists trumps all other things, and because there's two black men beefing, they get to have extra enjoyment from that, while shoehorning their talking points into the proceedings. In fact, all of their so-called commentary and reporting is like that. It's usually a noun, then a verb, followed by black women are the victims of black men doing such and such. Except in this case, they didn't even feel the need to say black women, it was just women. So I guess there's some white women or Asian women or Hispanic women that they want to stick up for, right? You have these two hit pieces that came out on the exact same day within 3 hours of each other. Now, I'm not saying that there's any sort of coordination going on here, but even if there's not, we can all agree mediocre minds think alike. So this is not about protecting black women. I'm sorry, I mean to say just women. No, this is about pushing and promoting the rape culture narrative, the street harassment narrative, the black men are the face of sexual abuse and predation narrative. And it's no surprise that this nonsense is being platformed by the rot. These people cheerlead for allies and speak up for everything and everyone except black people. The rot is a white media sock puppet, and it acts like it. Their slant is approved of by the very white media people who own them. Drake and Kendrick Lamar are not what's important here. What is that the white media takes advantage of situations like this to make black people look bad, and these bootlicks take advantage of it to push some asinine gender war and their own pathetic would-be self-promotion. Now, as you should all know, and as I've said countless times, I don't care about entertainment or pop culture. They're toilets run by the white media. But I do have to occasionally dip my toes into those putrid waters, even if only to throw rocks at people, because I know that you care about those things more than are willing to admit to it. I want my people to disengage from a media that's constantly trying to trap your attention and not offering you anything that empowers, honors, or magnifies you. I don't know Drake or Kendrick Lamar well enough to praise or condemn either one of them. Their rap careers and their beefing are both meaningless to me. But when you decide to center your life around entertainment from the white media, it makes them think that they have an opening to influence your views on things. They use whatever's trending as bait to lure you in so that they can push their talking points at you. Everything you see and hear in so-called pop culture is nothing more than a delivery mechanism for their garbage ideology. Poison in a candy coating. And some of you will consume it. The best way to prevent that is to disengage from these things, or at the very least, seriously reduce your consumption of the music and imagery that the white media pushes at you. And if you can't do without your favorite rapper, then that says a lot about you. This is not about hating on anyone. It's about developing a mentality that doesn't allow for these bottom feeders to try to slip their putrid anti-black racism at you. Look, we're going to have to get serious about our interests sooner or later. We're going to have to. So you can go ahead and do it now or you can do it later, but you're going to have to do it. And that means a lot of the things that you've been conditioned to hold on to and follow after are also going to be left by the wayside. Even if you believe that there is a domestic violence angle here, do you truly believe these angry harpies even care about that? Tarana Burke was told about Harvey Weinstein and she wanted to know why it was her job to go after white men. That lets you know everything you need to know about what these black feminists really think about black women. I'm sorry, I mean women. This irrelevant wannabe rapper in Toronto is jealous of Drake's success, and like so many others, she's hoping trashing him will ingratiate her with some white music executive somewhere. Music is a tough, ultra-hyper-competitive industry where there's so much competition, it's virtually impossible to break through the noise and get anyone to notice you, unless you're extremely skilled, extremely lucky, or you can get the white media to give you some publicity. We can see which path this woman took. And the same goes for the rot. Owned by a white media company, and the soulless Negroes who toil in that white media plantation are constantly trying to audition for some other white media outlet somewhere that might actually pay them enough to pay their rent. This is why I hate so much of the white media and the stuff that we see put at us in general. This is why I stopped watching TV and haven't really seriously listened to music since the 90s. I wish I was making that up. I was still young when I disengaged from that toilet. So, on the one hand, you have rappers whose beefing is at best a pointless distraction, and on the other hand, you have clout-chasing feminists auditioning for a higher rung on the white media ladder. Neither one is worth our attention. So wouldn't it be nice if we stopped giving it? Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Rashawn Izu, E-Rock, Earth Angel, Rod Spade, and FBAK. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.